The next update that we have, this one, we have not spoken about it in some time. Now, I talked about a case many, many months ago before the protest. I think it was even before coronavirus broke out, but we were talking about a gal, Breonna Taylor. Covered her on this show, explained what had happened here. For some reason, this story didn't catch the same way that the other stories did. Probably because there was no video of what happened. But the story is horrendous. What happened was Breonna was a very young 24, 25-year-old, young EMT. She was working in the healthcare industry, no criminal record, upstanding, beautiful, woman who is just doing everything right in life, doing very well. She's at home with her in her apartment with her boyfriend. SWAT team busts in, and one of the officers there just starts shooting, fires 10 bullets into into Breonna's room where she is sound asleep, hits her a number of times, kills her instantly. Her boyfriend fires back at the cops. He gets arrested. He's charged with attempted murder because he's firing back at the cops who did like a no-knock warrant. They just kick his door in, and they think they own the place because he's defending himself. Of course, he's trying to kill the cops. And because we killed his girlfriend, we're going to charge him with a crime and arrest him, and we're going to prosecute him for attempted murder of officers, even though they broke into his apartment. So that all happened. She's killed. I covered the story, didn't catch any news. There was no video footage, unlike Ahmaud's case or Rayshard Brooks' case or George Floyd's case. There's when you can see the video, it lights people up and it causes a response. This case is arguably more gruesome because she got shot 10 times by this officer. And again, nothing happened. So here's the background on this. Breonna Taylor was shot on March 13th, 2020. And then the officer just got fired yesterday. So that was March. So about three months and about 10 days went by, and this guy was on the force the entire time. And the guy's name who was fired is Brett Hankison. So let's swap over here. Brett Hankison is one of the officers who barged into Breonna Taylor's home. He's been fired. It's this guy right here. He has been eliminated off of the department, and that happened effective June 23rd. So the reason being, he violated the department rules, procedures. He violated deadly force standards when Breonna was killed. He fired 10 rounds just blindly. No charges yet. Other officers, Jonathan Mattingly and Miles Cosgrove, have only been placed on administrative leave. So these two other officers were in sort of the roving band that broke into their home, and Officer Hankison was the one who shot and killed Breonna, fired 10 rounds. We actually have a written letter from the Louisville Metro Police Department, from the office of the chief, over to the detective Brett Hankison. And here's what it looks like. So he sent this over yesterday. Today's the 24th, and it's about the public integrity case. It says, "Dear Detective Hankison, please be advised, effective this date, your employment with the Louisville is terminated. Taking this action based on my review, initiated 13th. Your pre-termination meeting held today's date. The investigation conducted by their integrity unit." So again, they're investigating themselves. "The following is the result of my subsequent review of the file." So 4 counts of violation of obedience to rules and regulations, sustained. 10 counts of violations of standard operating procedure for the use of deadly force, also sustained. So 14 counts from this one guy, all of them being sustained by the Louisville Metro Police Department. "I have determined you violated SOP, obedience to rules. Your actions displayed an extreme indifference to the life and value, to value of human life when you wantonly and blindly fired 10 rounds into the apartment of Breonna Taylor on March 13th. These rounds created a substantial danger of death and serious injury to Breonna Taylor and 3 occupants of the apartment next to Miss Taylor's. I make my determination pursuant to preponderance of the evidence." Also, the other 10 rounds. You blindly fired 10 rounds into her apartment without supporting facts that your deadly force was directed at a person against whom posed an immediate threat of danger or serious injury to yourself. In fact, the 10 rounds you fired were into a patio door and window, which were covered with material that completely prevented you from verifying any person as an immediate threat, or more importantly, any innocent persons present. So it sounds like these cops just, they were going in the back door. It sounds like the windows had some blinds or some coverings or, something on there to block the light from coming in. This cop just goes in, fires 10 rounds. Presumably it was kind of on her back patio where she was sleeping, and the officer fired some rounds through there, hit her a bunch, hit her 8 times, 10 times, and killed her. And the chief, I mean, it's a scathing letter. It says basically there's no basis at all for what you did. In fact, you fired into a patio door. They were covered, completely prevented you from verifying any person was a threat, or more importantly, any innocent persons were present. So again, this took about 3 months, just over 3 months, 3 months and a few days. This cop was somebody who, up until that point, sounds like he was being investigated, but had not been fired and had not been charged even. So the question then kind of becomes, well, what would have happened had the world not exploded with anger and rage against police officers? What if Breonna's case just had kind of kept going on the wayside and just gotten swept under the rug like many of these others? This guy still has not been charged with anything as of today. So a cop goes into somebody's house, she's sleeping, he fires 10 bullets into their house, kills somebody, and he hasn't been charged with a crime. The cops out of Rayshard Brooks' cases were charged. Cops in George Floyd's case were charged. Cops in Rayshard Brooks' case were charged. They all got charged, but not this guy. Not yet. We're going to see what happens. Letter goes on, and it says, this one was kind of shocking. We learned about this yesterday. Shocking that this is how it works, but here you go. This is directly from the chief's letter. So Robert Schroeder is the name of the chief. You can see his name down here. And he rounds out his letter by saying, hey, by the way, you have previously been disciplined for reckless conduct that injured an innocent person in Professional Standards Case 17062, which presumably means that happened 3 years ago. And you were disciplined for that on January 9th, 2019. So this guy just got disciplined last year in January for a case that looks like it happened in 2017. So the 2 years go by. This guy's on the force. You can see here. So just so you understand, this case is in 20. So, the 19th public integrity case in the year 2020. So that means that if we take a look at the other numbers, he got a 17 case. So the complaint came across in 2017 and he got disciplined 2 years later. So he's on the force doing whatever he wanted to do for 2 years. And now he committed a new one, even though he just got disciplined for it a year ago. About 14 months before he shot and killed Breonna Taylor, he had just been disciplined for reckless conduct that injured an innocent person. And he hung on the force for a couple years while they did their investigation and their discipline, and they kept him on another one, and somebody died as a result of it. Breonna Taylor got shot and killed because this police department that knew that this guy was a problem kept him on. No problem at all. This is the problem, folks. This is what is so wrong with everything. They just sweep these things under the rug until one of these guys snaps. And again, what happens if the world had not melted down? Maybe we wouldn't have heard anything from this. Maybe now the chief of police is getting bombarded because people are furious. They know more about Breonna Taylor now, and now they're demanding some action. He goes on, he finishes it. These are extreme violations of our policies. I find your conduct a shock to the conscience. I am alarmed and stunned you use deadly force in this fashion. You have never been trained by the Louisville Metro Police Department to use deadly force in this fashion. Your actions have brought discredit upon yourself and the department. Your conduct, okay, on and on and on. I cannot tolerate this type of conduct. Your conduct demands your termination. I have the utmost confidence in my decision to terminate your employment, blah, 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 blah. So it comes three months later. This letter comes out 3 months later, after George Floyd, after Ahmaud Arbery, after Rayshard Brooks, after statutes are coming down, after cities are being burned down. We've got this police chief who comes out and says, with gusto now, I mean, you read that. He's angry. Your actions have brought discredit upon me. Your conduct is severely damaged. Very angry, very upset. And just a litany of how upset he is. But he wasn't upset before. He wasn't upset in March or April or May. We just got it in June. And this guy had previously been disciplined. Was he upset in 2017, 2018, or did he have to wait until 2019 for him to get disciplined for his reckless conduct endangering somebody else? And so this is what goes on and on. Now, look, credit to Robert Schroeder, the chief of police, for blasting and firing this guy and putting all of that in the paragraph. But come on, man, like we can all see what you're doing there. You know, now you are just blasting this guy because you know you have to do that. You know that anything less than coming out with a really hard PR statement, this is a public relations statement, is what this is. He's not writing this letter to the officer. He's technically writing the letter to the officer. It's addressed to the officer, but this letter is for you and it's for me and it's for us to talk about. And it's for most people to go, yeah, good job. Good job, Robert Schroeder, chief of police. Get rid of those bad guys. And it's good. We want the good cops to get rid of the bad cops. We want them all going away. But we also want justice, and we don't want delays in justice. Remember, justice delayed is justice denied. I understand that they have to go through their internal process and they've got their investigations and all of that stuff, but this guy should have been booted from the force in 2017 after his first complaint, or reassigned to desk duty, or gone through some additional mental health screening or something, because the process is broken. You cannot have these lunatics on the force killing people and injuring people and put them right back out into the middle of our society. It's not good. That's how people get killed. So that officer's off the force. I mean, on my reading of that, if this chief of police is right, the question then becomes, is he going to recommend criminal charges? Is Robert Schroeder, who is a police department official who is charged with with running the entire department, he has a say in how things get charged. In most cases, technically prosecutors don't have to listen to them, but a prosecutor typically does. If a prosecutor talks to a detective or an investigator and they say, yeah, this case deserves to be charged, prosecutors will lean on that pretty heavily. They'll say, yeah, we agree with you. We're going to go ahead and charge this guy. So if Robert Schroeder went ahead and recommended that charges be filed, you would imagine that the prosecutor's office would run with that. So let's see. Let's see if he puts his money where his mouth is. He said that a lot of this seriously impedes our department's goal. We never trained you to use deadly force in that way. You know, this is a big part. We never trained you to use force in that way. Never to use deadly force in this fashion, which means that he broke their protocol, means he's outside of the agency rules. Qualified immunity should no longer apply to him. He should be liable for this thing, and he should be charged with it. He just fired a gun blindly into somebody's house. There was no threats. There was no evidence that there was anybody with a weapon on the other side of that window. And had you or I done that, we would have been charged and arrested with murder in a heartbeat, immediately. But this guy didn't. This guy's still free, running around, looking for a job, maybe looking for a job at another police department. We'll see. I'm going to guess this guy get charged too, just because of the political climate that we're in. I'm going to guess that he gets indicted or arrested here pretty soon. But until that happens, he is a free man running around.